Excited to be joined now by the man, Mike Petriello. Mike, how was your break, man? How are you doing?
You know, it was so fun, Lance. I've been in this for a long time, but I got to watch the home run derby with my son. He's 10 years old. He was bouncing off the wall watching dingers. And it's like a good reminder of why we do this, right? Because baseball is fun for everybody.
I love it. That's amazing stuff. Always a good moment to share with your son. I went to the derby with my dad, actually, so it was really cool. First one in person, really good live experience. But we got some Alex Bregman to talk here. Right before the break in this derby we're talking about, we saw some signs of life, right? He slugged 463 in July after being sub 400 in each of the prior 3 months. There's some momentum going in the positive direction here for Bregman. Are you convinced that maybe an upswing is coming?
Yeah, I don't know about fully convinced, but there's some interesting stuff happening. As you noted, it has been kind of a rough start to the season. And when you go into the break with a couple homers, it's really good. But at the same time, it's like, well, those homers came in Cincinnati, which is a great home run ballpark, against a Reds team, which is not very good. So you want to try to get deeper and see if you can get to something here. And I think this is really cool. This is his early swing rate against breaking balls. And he had talked about this earlier in the year. He's like, I'm too early against the soft stuff. And I think we talked about this before when these new metrics came out. And look at this. He's not quite as early anymore. He's actually getting to be on time with these. And this is the under the hood metric stuff that I really love, because it maybe tells you all the hard work with the swing is turning into something real.
Yeah, no, that's great to see. I love these new metrics you guys have, because I do feel like a lot of the time hitters will have more anecdotal thoughts about their own swing. And I'm always the one like you kind of hunting for the more objective feedback on like, okay, you're saying you're early, like, but we can't really tell because your slug isn't really deviated against this pitch type. And now we're getting to the point where we can measure these things. We could also measure this on fastballs with Bregman. This year, he's slugging under 400 against them. You look at his career, he's a 5'10" slugger, so to speak, versus fastball. So this deviation from his career norm is probably the primary thing that jumps out to me, because at the end of the day, crushing fastballs is how you become a good hitter. He's not doing that this year, but it seems like he's getting better.
Yeah, and if he's going to get healthy against anybody, Bailey Ober pitching for the Twins, a 600 slug against that four-seamer. And when you look at what Bregman's done against the fastball over the last couple of months, no swing and misses in July against the fastball, which is phenomenal. But you can look at another fancy StatCast metric here. This is lined up rate, and this is not early or late. This is above or below the bat. And you can see he's lining up the fastball better than he has all year. And all of these metrics are to some extent timing metrics, right? Even if we're not talking about early and late, you can be on time and you can miss above, you can miss below. But what you really want to do is get all of these things perfect. And he's kind of getting up to this really, really good 95% lined up rate in July. And I think these are going to be things that are meaningful quickly. You know, we always talk about how long does it take for something to be stable, to matter. And these swing rates seem like they mean something pretty fast. And like I said, so far, halfway through the month, not a single swing and miss against the fastball. That's really impressive.
Yeah, very impressive. I love that nugget. It's something we'll definitely be tracking going forward, especially as you get a 6 set of games at home here at Wrigley. Talking about the homers, talking about being timed up with Bregman, why don't we flip it? The pitching staff for the Cubs this year has not been particularly great, as you've seen, partially due to all the injuries they've ran into. I think they're mustering pretty well with that in mind. But we want to look at home runs. They have allowed a bunch of them. You pulled this nugget for us. This year, they've allowed 148 home runs through 96 games, their first 96 games of the season, which is the most in Cubs history. If you go back to let's say the three highest in this bucket, so 2000, 99, and 06, they were not playing well. So I guess this is a negative stat kind of spun positively, because they are playing pretty well despite the fact their staff is allowing the highest barrel rate in baseball and the second most home runs allowed. How do they fix this, man?
Yeah, it's a minor miracle that they're above 500 by as much as they are, right? That's a credit to the defense, and it's a credit to Pete Armstrong and the rest of the guys, because as you saw, you give up all those home runs, it doesn't usually end well. A big part of that, of course, is injuries. We know this, but even if everybody was healthy, this was going to be kind of a pitch-to-contact pitching staff. And the thing I point to here, and we all know they're going to go get some guys at the trade deadline, we got to talk about velocity, or more importantly, the Cubs' lack thereof. If you were to look at percentage of fastballs thrown 95 miles an hour or more, they are dead last in baseball. And I kind of understand that people get a little frustrated by always talking about velocity and miles per hour, and there's more to pitching than just throwing hard. And I fully agree that's true, but also these are not good pitching teams on the rest of the list here. These are not the guys you want to be with. Velocity is not everything, but it is absolutely something. And if you look at the 5 current members of the rotation for the Cubs, they're not all going to throw hard. Matthew Boyd can be a very good pitcher without throwing hard, and that's fine. But all 5 of the current members have considerably below average fastball velocity velocity, and that's not going to fly. So when they trade for someone, and we both know they will, look for how hard they throw.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the big thing everyone's wanting. Aside from just a reliever and a starter, maybe two of one of those categories, you kind of just want someone who throws hard to push this out. I'm going to give you a half-baked idea. I want you to kind of rate it for me here. I've been wondering whether the Cubs are acquiring lower velocity purely because it perhaps is more efficient from like a dollar per WAR standpoint. And now I know we're getting really nerdy here, but when I have you on, I have to bring up stuff like this. Again, half-baked idea, just kind of thinking of it from a front office rationale standpoint. Perhaps the lower velocity with how good their defense is kind of the more efficient path for them to get outs as opposed to paying for velo. I think that's fair, but at the same time, you look at the teams that succeed in the playoffs and you go, well, they all throw hard. So I'm trying to square these two elements here. You kind of get what I'm saying?
Yeah, yes and no. I believe you about the defense. I think, of course, if you have a defense like that, they're going to suck up balls. Everybody else won't. It's a little tougher of a sell, I think, when you're playing in a ballpark like Wrigley, where a lot of the months of the season, you don't want the ball to be in play because it can fly over the fence. And to their credit, they did try to fix this a little bit over the winter when they went out and traded for Cabrera from Miami. And he does throw really hard. I know the success wasn't always there, but I do think that they looked at that and said, that's a weakness that we have to do something with. And that's going to be something they're going to have to do again as the season goes on.
Yeah, okay, cool. Well, we'll keep shopping the idea and come up with maybe a better way to phrase it. But that's where my brain goes with all of this. Mike Petriello, pleasure talking to you as always, man. Take care. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, Let's.